All right, listen up, everybody. Every last one of you are sick Hold on. Wait, that was too strong. All right, let me try again. My dear comrades of the internet, there's something important that we really must address concerning... Nah, that's too soft. You got a little posh there at the end too. All right, I got it. My bad, y'all. My bad. As you can probably tell, I had no clue how I was going to start this. I was conflicted on if I was going to come in on like a Darth Vader vibe and potentially pop a blood vessel out of my neck, or be as calm and soft as that one teacher from Matilda before Miss Turnbull comes in and makes that little kid eat the cake. What I think the best thing to do here is to mash both together in a blender, put salt around the rim, and most importantly, give it to you straight. Gaming is hurt because of how bad leaker culture has gotten. Hell, everything is in a worse position thanks to how insane leaker culture is now. I can't go a single week without seeing a prenatal first trimester alpha build of a game we're not getting until 2077 or some hidden asset square in my face at 9:35 in the morning on a random Wednesday. I mean, we can run down some of the million-mile-long list here. Rockstar and GTA 6 leaked so badly they hired John Wick, James Bond, and the Equalizer to arrest some punk-ass tween from an England suburb in 7 hours flat. Insomniac had their entire roadmap for the next 7 to 8 years exposed with art and gameplay lying out in the open. Xbox got leaked from their FTC court case, and that info got spotted quicker than Ezio clocks targets with Eagle Vision. Space Marine 2, FromSoft's parent company Katawaka, Valve, Disney, like bro, come on, the Mouse Mafia, Disney too? And all of those happened within the past 2 years. Shoot, I'll even throw in some bonus rounds. Movies? Can't even place your thumb on a timeline without Deep Scrubbing Bubbles Film on Twitter talking about casting or showing set photos from the MCU or anywhere else. Music? Man, the artist Big Sean had his whole album leaked before the first singles fully dropped, and it was probably the doing of Kendrick Lamar because he just wants to hurry up and drop soon too. Anime and manga? All I gotta say is JJK, and at least 40 million people in the US felt a wave of PTSD hit them from how bad the show's been leaked and spoiled for them. I don't care if people want to admit it or not, but everything has been stunted by leaks in so many different ways, and yet everyone captured in it seems to move like the problem is in the spirit world and we just ignore it. It's altered how we anticipate content and absorb information, and I would go so far as to say that leaker culture has permanently damaged us. For too long have we been comfortable seeing games hurt, relationships be broken, and a frankly morally bankrupt set of behaviors be accepted, rewarded, and in some unwarranted cases championed in the gaming space and beyond. Now, this is not a knock to the historical or political lens of leaking, secret sharing, or scoops. We all know that it's happened for centuries and has some positive use for the people. But the dominance of the internet and the current state of consumer culture and mass communication have combined to make the worst timeline that Doctor Strange could have seen for our modes of entertainment. I got a bone to pick with a whole lot of folks on this, and there's a lot of who's, whys, and what's to address to help you all see what I've been letting stir in my brain for the past, I don't even know how long. But best believe we're gonna get to the bottom of this and paint the full picture. So sit back, relax, and take a trip with yours truly as we break down why leaker culture must die. Now, before we go full speed, a quick note that we're doing this mainly through the lens of gaming, but you can easily apply this to movies, TV, anime, wrestling, hell, most any other entertainment lane that you please. If I didn't do it this way, this video will be longer than those 7-hour videos of Meg Thee Stallion on Twitter, so let's get right. Huh? Those videos are what? Only 30 seconds. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. So that's just me? Yes, sir. You're freaked out right now. Anyways, let's start this trip by talking about who is involved when leaker culture is put into question. Well, before we start pointing the fingers outward, we gotta call a spade and acknowledge that many of us as consumers must take some blame in letting this leaking business be as normalized as it is now. Living in this information age unfortunately puts us in positions where we are conditioned to 1. Experience FOMO or fear of missing out, 2. Absorb any piece of information in a need to know all, or at the very least 3. Expect to be exposed to damn near anything and everything on the internet. It is so hard to break out of the cycle when it's so ingrained in how we consume and interact, but point blank, we're a part of this equation. And human nature helps that ball of leaks to keep rolling downhill like Indiana Jones is in front of it. Some consumers are complicit in spreading the scourge of leaks to some degree, but for most of us, being complacent is the crime we have to hold our hands up for. Outside of that, there are people out there who are actively pushing leaker culture for their own motivations. And in my headcanon, I've grouped the majority of them into 3 common types: the extorters, the chasers, and the jokers. Now, the extorters are pretty straightforward, and in my opinion, the vintage scumbag who hack and leak info at the expense of companies forking up some cash. Well, either that or they get ran down on SWAT style before they can get their checking account out the red. Think the Katawaka ransomware attack that had FromSoft's parent company and 1.5 terabytes of confidential info on the brink of exposure, and you'll think extorters. In the next bucket, we got the chasers, who are ready and willing to jeopardize their channels, credibility, careers, and sometimes morals to get that scoop they so desperately crave. This bucket covers a range of people who keep going to the well, including one particular subgenre: game journalists. When I think news and journalism, something always pushes me to a thought Denzel Washington brought up a few times when speaking about the truth in media. His main focus was addressing fake news, but he dropped a gem when he stated, and I quote, "One of the effects is the need to be..." Matter of fact, I like his voice better than mine, so let him tell it.
What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it.
And in this race to be first, leaks and reporting on them have become even more emphasized in the gaming journalism we see today. Apart from journalists, if you swash your hands in this bucket a couple of times, you're going to run into the other major subgroup amongst the chasers: content creators. I want to make this distinction from journalists to at least note the different level of risk that content creators will take on just to feel some limelight. I remember not too long ago, there was this content creator, let's just call him Jan Fallon. Now, Jan runs a channel and thought it would be a fantastic idea to create an anonymous account that was promoting insider information and leaks. Now, how did Jan get this insider info, you ask? Well, my pupil, this person used their contacts and partnerships from their main channel and then fed the timeline information that they got while under NDAs on several titles. Kind of like how Peter Parker would give J. Jonah Jameson pictures of Spider-Man, but infinitely less cool and a lot more bummy. The story goes that one day Jan was cruising undetected, but made the dumbass mistake of responding to a comment from the insider page on his main account. And that's all Jason Schreier, aka Xbox controller in your Hans Landa, needed to start lining up posts on the wall from both accounts and figured out the leaker and Jan were the same person. Lame ass behavior, lame purpose, hilarious way to get caught out. Jan probably wasn't the first to do this, and they won't be the last. Every week, there's new waves of leakers either using aliases or their own accounts to flood the timeline with confidential info, and they're prepared to crash out and risk their chance to progress in the long term for gains in the short. Last but certainly not least, we have the Jokers. And you already know I could let The Dark Knight do all the talking for me on this.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Ain't much to it, but killing any anonymity and element of surprise in the space is their sport. As a matter of fact, let me dip right back into The Dark Knight, because for them,
it's not about money, it's about sending a message.
Honestly, I have no hard stats to back this up, but I feel like this bucket breeds the most efficient hackers just based on the sheer unhinged nature of their lives and what they do. But if I could leave a suggestion to the pro jokers out there, y'all should put your talents towards more beneficial and challenging tasks like, I don't know, say a student loan or medical bill service, or just food for thought. So now you understand who's at play, but let's get into why they even play at all. And that's really simple to understand. You could probably tell and heard some of these motivations as soon as I let you in on the who's who, but let me spell it out using the 3 C's. The first C, cash money, man. Some of these people are starving and they need that extra change in their wallets. In many cases, poverty or greed is a hell of a motivator, so it isn't that far-fetched that most of the parties are abusing leaks to help push the monetary payload. The second C, catharsis. This applies almost entirely to the jokers, but everybody who is a human has the capacity to tap into this at least once in their lives. There are some individuals who are just hell-bent on scratching that itch for destruction or to feel the rush of leaking something no one else has. Truly freaked out and in the game for the love of the kill and spectating the after effects of it.
You're a freaking frog!
The final C, and probably the most prominent in today's world, clout. In a world where people could get TV shows over one salacious phrase spoken, people are dying to get that little leg up, that one thing that'll conjure a following for what they know fast, those extra clicks for a publication they represent, or that feeling of coolness by flexing the access they have to the inner workings of the industry, and all at the expense of throwing metric tons of information and assets in the wild when they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. There was a time where Bungie had some leaks come out about their next shooter Marathon, and the general counsel of Bungie traced it back to someone who divulged some info to their Destiny clan because, quote, they wanted to be cool with their clan. Looking at the landscape today, this is easily the most commonplace we see, but all of them make up the fuel behind why people actively operate in leaker culture. Now, I wouldn't have overthought this video for 1,000 hours if I didn't mention some blind spots that the 3Cs don't exactly cover when leaks happen. For instance, there could be any number of accidental leaks that happen because of one bad keystroke while someone was chugging a Red Bull in their other hand to keep them breathing at their work desk. Super specific, but the point is accidents happen. There are also some outliers that exist due to major circumstances and disaster scenarios like retaliation against layoffs. An awful situation that I understand the motivations of. Some folks want to make a company hurt for the shitty treatment that they or their team received in being cast aside, and I respect that. The reason I would say it's an outlier is because of the optimistic thought in my head that layoffs and retaliation via leaking doesn't happen as often. Or at least shouldn't happen as often, because with how many stupid layoffs we've seen since 2020, I get if hard done by employees want to pull a Marcus from Watch Dogs and make these companies feel a fraction of the pain they felt. All that to say, leaking born from layoffs is understandable, and due to its nature, I want to keep that separate from the hooligans that fall under the 3Cs and do it on a regular basis. And just to solidify it in the noggin one more time, remember kids, cash, catharsis, and clout. That's why the who is leaking in the first place. So we have the who's and we got their whys in check. Now let's get to the what's that are in play with this whole leaking fiasco we find ourselves in. First off, we must ask ourselves, what pains does leaker culture cause to the industry? I said it at the top of the video. Leaking has caused some serious damage to the fabric of gaming and greater media, and it's manifested in a few different ways that I've seen. From the impact of leaking, we're getting less or set to get less in so many areas. We're starting to see some degree of less trust in the relationship between some developers and the outside parties of media, creators, and consumers. The more things get leaked and revealed outside of game studios' terms, I see a slippery slope of lessened access for gamers, or at least a hard cutoff to that access from newer fans and faces. To put it bluntly, less trust between these parties creates less transparency out of potential fears of leaks. In addition to less trust, we're also getting less quality in discourse about games. The amount of bad faith arguments and point scoring that comes from a leak is overwhelmingly awful, especially when good and constructive conversations about gaming still exist. I mean, on one side, we got some people who build followings off of fake leaks, hearsay, and potentially damaging narratives that have no substantial source to their claims. They amass thousands of followers off the strength of "dude, trust me," and let people run with likely false claims online. And on the other side, we have grifters who push stupid agendas and bring the collective IQ of gaming to a school zone speed limit. These losers and bums, namely someone who rhymes with the word bums, will stop at nothing to promote their smooth-brained agendas, and leaks like the Insomniac Wolverine situation become free hits to peddle tomfoolery to the masses. It's ultimately about public perception. The more people are exposed to leaks, the more people literally take what they see out of context, then judge pieces that aren't the final product as such. Leaked content being thrust into center stage to be ridiculed stunts people's perception about what a game will be. We can go right back to the Wolverine leaks, the GTA 6 footage getting released into the wild, or any leaks of the like, and the outcome is the same. People yapping about a slice of gameplay that is so removed from the final product and throwing their final verdicts on things they haven't even laid their grubby little hands on properly. The takes just end up being short-sighted, inflammatory, absolute, and for the most part, not constructive. And once you're done here swallowing the bitter pill about gaming conversations getting worse, we have to deal with less excitement about games from multiple fronts. Leaks always carry serious potential to take the sting out of announcements and marketing campaigns for games to come. On the dev side, the hard work that goes into the DNA of a project and showing it off to the world gets stomped on and murders the excitement developers have to witness the world reacting to what they were ready to show when they were ready to show it. On the consumer side, the hype of a game announcement being ruined by leaks could impact engagement, sales, success, and general impact in the market if they make their decisions before something is ready to be shown. And for me, we're getting less of the most important thing in any of these equations. Less fun for the people. I mean, kudos to the few surprises we've gotten lately, but it feels like leaker culture is slowly stripping the fun factor of just experiencing big game rollouts from all of us. And that shit is lame. I mean, rack your brain and think about how many great moments that were fun to live through because we didn't see it coming. Think about Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora from Kingdom Hearts and Smash Bros. All right, that's my fault. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. This is biased. That's on me. My bad. The God of War reboot, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Zelda the Twilight Princess, and many, many more. That experience of seeing a game revealed at the same time as everyone else, unspoiled to the world, and getting into the zeitgeist of enjoyment around that title is one of the best aspects of gaming. Unfortunately, that experience continues to appear fewer and farther in between and will continue to evaporate as leaker culture continues to be normalized, unchecked, and encouraged by the environment around it. Leaks can cause a lot of pain, as you just heard. It challenges a lot of good that exists in the space and just dims the light this thing we consume has. Now, the only thing left to tackle is the last what. What can we even do about it? From the gut, my first answer is, I don't have a damn clue, man. This machine is machining. Everyone is content with the system to just keep on rolling, and acceptance of it is hard to fight against. There's no silver bullet that will just make this thing go away. There's too many players, too high of motivations, too much to gain from overuse and nonstop peddling of confidential currency. No one thing is just gonna make it disappear. But there may be a few things that can help push the payload back in our favor. Companies can continue to invest in security measures and better practices to batten down the hatches against bad actors, much like Nintendo's been aiming to do in recent times. Outlets and networks at large could attempt to show restraint and promote behaviors that reduce leaking from being so intrusive in their hunt for clicks and viewership. And it may not be easy, but an answer could also lie in people like you and I to make change by consistently stomping out, blocking, and discouraging leaks from spreading. Look, I get we all love speculation and putting on the tinfoil hats. Talking about the unknown is always enticing, but letting leaked information become this rampant in gaming not only destroys the connection between the gamers and makers of games, it also deprives us of better conversations, greater moments in history to fully embrace, and much more fun for people across the entire industry. At the end of the day, I just want my leaks to look like this, so we can preserve the fun and enrich our bond with all of gaming. So death to leaker culture, and may everything we enjoy be better without it. Hey, you, yes, you, thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, make sure you like, sub, hit the bell, and all that good stuff, and trauma bond with me in the comment section about a time when leaks affected you. I'm ready to hear your stories and take a trip with y'all in the comment section below, so let me hear them. And I know leaking is a big topic, but there's another big topic in gaming and beyond that's got a little game named Call of Duty stuck in the same position, so be sure to go check on that one as well. That's all the time we got, and we're at the end of this video, but don't trip. We'll catch you in the next one.